Hello all, welcome to Ekam Academy. So today we are going to discuss about an interesting recent controversy. So have you any time heard about any election counting taking place in a court and the judges they themselves have declared the result of the election? No. Generally we doesn't see such phenomenon happening in the recent past. So for the first time it happened in the history of Supreme Court where the judges themselves have declared who is elected in one particular election. So which election we are referring to? That is Chandigarh mayor election. So what is the controversy surrounding this election? What are the provisions related to this urban local bodies? Who will elect the mayor? How the election will happen in the case of urban local bodies, especially municipal corporations? And also we look into what is Article 142, why it was invoked by Supreme Court in this particular case. And also we look into some remarks made by the Supreme Court of India. And many other interesting things also we'll know. So stay tuned. Here you can see the Chief Justice of India himself made a statement, we won't tell of the murder of democracy. So he made a very harsh remarks and he made very strong remarks because of the presiding officer's conduct. He was unsatisfied with the conduct of the presiding officer. So he made these remarks and you will see what is it, why it is a news, what happened in Chandigarh mayor election, what is the actual controversy about, what did Supreme Court say in the recent judgment, and what is Article 142, how it is related to this, and what are the previous instances where this Article 142 was already invoked by Supreme Court. And we'll look into municipalities and the constitutional provisions, and also we'll look into the office of mayor. So what are the provisions related to office of mayor? So this forms part of GS paper 2 in polity and constitution. So first thing we have to understand is Supreme Court yesterday, it has declared AAP candidate, okay, Aam Aadmi Party's candidate Kuldeep Kumar as the Chandigarh mayor. So what is this controversy of Chandigarh mayor election? For that to understand, we need to know some basic things. So Chandigarh is a union territory and it is a common capital for Punjab and Haryana. So what happened is this Chandigarh, it had the mayor elections, that means municipal corporation elections happened, and out of this there are 35 seats. First thing you have to know is 35 seats are there in Chandigarh election. Then what happened to this? Elections were conducted in the month of January. Later what happened after the result? Okay, so how many parties contested is 3 main parties contested. That is one Aam Aadmi Party, then Indian National Congress, and then we have BJP. So here BJP was also supported by Akali Dal. Okay, so along with Akali Dal. So these are the 3 main parties which contested the elections to the office of mayor in Chandigarh. So then what happened? Out of 35 seats, and you have to remember 34 plus 1. Why I mean here 1 means here this 1 is belonging, this one particular vote or seat you can say that belongs to the MP of Chandigarh who is already BJP candidate. So they have this plus 1 vote secured. So out of this 34, how many they have secured means this AAP, they have secured 13 seats and they have secured 7 seats. In total they have received 20 seats out of 35. And BJP has secured almost 14 seats, okay, along with this plus 1 you can say MP seat and also Akali Dal support, okay. In this way they have got 15 seats total you can say. So out of this you can see out of 35, 50% plus 1 is want the majority required, no? That means clearly Aam Aadmi Party and Indian National Congress clearly have the majority to become the mayor, to occupy the office of mayor you can say. Then what happened actually? So in this process only, out of 20 votes or 20 seats they have secured, 8 seats were made invalid by the presiding officer. So who is this presiding officer? Presiding officer is the person, or a political person you have to say, because in the process of conducting of elections, this person who is appointed by the state government, okay, so by the government, they have to be apolitical. They should not have any political affiliations. This person will be appointed by district election officer, okay. So district election officer is appointing a presiding officer to look into the election process and to conduct the process peacefully, free and fairly. Then what happened? This person, presiding officer, he marked 8 seats, or you can say 8 ballot papers as crossed. Means this symbol was placed on the ballot papers of 8, you can say 8 votes or 8 seats which they have secured out of 20. That means they said all these 8 seats are invalid. That means now the 20 votes they have secured, that is reduced to 12 seats only. That means now Aam Aadmi Party and Indian National Congress, they don't have majority. Subsequently, BJP's candidate was declared as the winner for this particular Chandigarh mayor post. Then what happened? Aam Aadmi Party and Indian National Congress have approached the Supreme Court asking that this is a clear mockery of democracy and clearly the people's mandate, you can say, or the election mandate was made undermined. It was also undermined. So please inquire into this. In this way, the matter reached the Supreme Court of India. In the meantime, what happened? The presiding officer marking something on the ballot papers became viral. That means he defaced the ballot papers. So when this viral video reached the Supreme Court of India, Chief Justice, after observing the viral video, he made these remarks that we don't allow the murder of democracy. That means we wanted to uphold the principles of democracy. In that way, Supreme Court has taken up this issue, and based on the evidences, they have said all the ballot papers which are voted in that particular election, that has to be given to a judicial officer which is appointed by the Supreme Court of India. Then Supreme Court, after examining all these things and based on the report of the judicial examiner, all these things, then they have declared yesterday that our person, okay, so our candidate only, as they have secured majority of 20 seats, okay. So there is this BJP, okay, this is not clear verdict because these 28, okay, 20 seats or 20 like ballot papers which are nullified or by the presiding officer which are marked as X, that is not a good sign, okay. So that is a clear violation of democratic principles where free and fair elections is the main important principle. In that context only, Supreme Court has yesterday declared that actually as 20 seats are secured by this alliance, our candidate is only the mayor of Chandigarh. In this is what all the controversy that is surrounding. And interestingly, for the first time in the history of Supreme Court, Chief Justice of India himself has cross-examined the presiding officer. This happened only for the first time in the entire independent history of India. Okay, this is very interesting phenomenon to observe. So that is what he made. He became very serious with respect to this regard. So presiding officer, generally he has to be apolitical. So for what reasons you have marked something on the ballot papers? On what grounds you have nullified? So these are the questions that Chief Justice of India, he himself has posed to the presiding officer who have conducted this election. So this is all what we have discussed. Okay, so the presiding officer has defaced the ballot papers and 8 votes are being declared invalid. So based on this only, the Aam Aadmi Party has approached Supreme Court, and later, you know, Supreme Court, what did it say? It said have ordered again the review of election. Actually, this party, Aam Aadmi Party and Congress, have asked for again re-election, you can say, but Supreme Court said no need of re-election. We have already looked into this issue, and they have asked this High Court Registrar General or Judicial Officer to look into this and to re-examine the ballot papers and then decide who is the actual winner. Based on this only, yesterday they have made the Aam Aadmi Party candidate as a mayor of Chandigarh. So then what is this Article 142? So Article 142, in the recent times we are most coming across this particular article. So what is Article 142 means? It is giving some powers to the Supreme Court whenever it is necessary, that or whenever Supreme Court feels that it is necessary to do complete justice or to maintain natural justice, then the Supreme Court can issue some orders or decrees. So that means whenever these orders or decrees are issued in doing complete justice, Supreme Court can have some extraordinary powers, and it can command or it can give some directions to enforce some procedures. That is what they're under Article 142. So enforcement of decrees. So you have under Article 142 also Article 142(1) Clause 1 we have, and 142 Clause 2 we have. So we should know what are the differences between these two. So Article 142 Clause 1 is dealing with Supreme Court has the power to issue decrees, we have seen. But in case if these decrees are not enforceable all throughout the territory of India, then what is the use of giving these powers to the Supreme Court, right? That is why whatever the decrees that were issued under Article 142, Supreme Court has said that these are enforceable by the court, all enforceable throughout the territory of India. That means everyone has to abide by these things. That is what the main principle of Article 142 Clause 1. Then what is Article 142 Clause 2 talking about? It is saying that in case, okay, of doing this, in the process of doing complete justice, okay, it can also ask any person to secure the attendance of the person. It can also ask to discover the documents related to that particular controversy, or it can also give punishment in case if they breach the command of the Supreme Court. That means here the presiding officer, no, so if whatever the directions issued by the Supreme Court, if he doesn't follow, then contempt of court can also be filed upon that person. If you have remembered, contempt of court is one of the jurisdiction that is there for the Supreme Court and High Courts. Whenever we have two types of, whenever some directions of Supreme Court or High Court are not followed, then they can go for issuing of contempt of court. So civil contempt and criminal contempt we have. So this is again this contempt of power for punishing the contempt of court. This is given to the Supreme Court and High Courts through an act. Parliament has enacted an act and it has given these powers. So this is what you have to remember. Then in what other instances already Article 142 was invoked means in the recent times. Okay, so first time it was invoked in Bhopal gas tragedy in 1984-85 period, you know, when the Union Carbide Corporation, okay, that is in the process of their journey, they have, in the process of production and all, they have released this methyl isocyanate. So when that methyl isocyanate was released, so many people, almost nearly 5,000 people, they have lost their lives. So in that particular case of granting compensation also, because that Union Carbide Corporation is an American MNC, so you cannot ask them to pay here. So in the process, as they have delayed paying the compensation also, Supreme Court has used this Article 142. Later in Babri Masjid demolition case, this happened in 1992. In the recent time only we have seen Ayodhya temple also got inaugurated. So when this Babri Masjid demolition happened and there is so much of communal tensions going on, so at that time also Supreme Court has invoked this principle of Article 142. Then liquor sale ban case also, like if, for example, if you have remembered, along the national highways within 500-meter distance, Supreme Court by issuing an order under Article 142 prohibited liquor sale because accidents have to be prevented. So through this accidents, in case if the lorry drivers or some persons who are going for long journeys, if they take liquor and if they drive, so many accidents are happening. So to prevent this, again, in doing complete justice, they have imposed this liquor ban. So this normally in these type of laws, executive has to give some orders or decrees, but in case of absence of any order or decree by the government of India executive, then whenever they feel that it is necessary to do justice, at that time Supreme Court is giving these orders. Then in the ex-Prime Minister assassination case, what is this case means? You know, Rajiv Gandhi Paravilan case, where the person who was convicted in that case was not given, when he appealed for mercy petition, there is no proper response from the government, and there is so much of time lag that happened when they have when the government has to decide with respect to that mercy petition. Then also Supreme Court said, as you are taking so much of time and you are causing inordinate delay, at that time also Supreme Court has issued under Article 142 and have released that person in Paravilan in this particular Rajiv Gandhi case. So this is all the instances where the Article 142 was already invoked by Supreme Court of India. Then what is the significance of this Article 142? It is to prevent injustice. As the name itself is suggesting, or the phrase or verbatim is suggesting, that to do complete justice. That means to prevent injustice it can be used, and to uphold citizens' rights. Sometimes when the citizens are deprived of their rights and government is showing its inactivity, at that time also the government, Supreme Court can issue orders, and it is like a check on the government. Sometimes whenever government is not taking necessary measures in that domain, Supreme Court can use its extraordinary powers under 142 and can issue some orders. Then what is the main criticism against this? This is separation of powers. For example, in the liquor ban sale case only, if you have seen, that is job of the executive to issue the orders or decrees. But normally here the judiciary is giving the orders. That means it is against the separation of powers. That means judiciary is intervening into the executive domain. It is judicial overreach, what we call. Then ambiguity. In what ambiguity means, here there is no clear definition of what is complete justice. In what angle we have to watch, or we have to interpret this as the complete justice is not clearly defined by the Supreme Court. So there is ambiguity related to the definition of complete justice. Then with respect to this urban local body, as this is a mayor election, we need to know the administrative structure of India. So you know, this is a government of India where the central government, under which you have state governments, then you have local governments, urban local bodies. Here you have, you have local bodies in the village level, you can call local bodies at the village level, and you have here the rural level and the urban level. So you know, again, three-tier mechanism is there in almost most of the states. So bigger cities will have municipal corporation, comparatively smaller places will have municipalities, then you have city councils or district municipality. Okay, then if you see types of urban local bodies, these, if you have to know the origins of urban local bodies, these are introduced by 74th Constitutional Amendment in 1992. Then what are the amendment made changes means it added Part 9A to Indian Constitution. Previously we have only 8 parts. Okay, sorry, Part 9A was added. Part 22 parts are there and 25 parts are there now. 3 parts were added and one is this Part 9A, and we have Schedule 12 was also added to the Indian Constitution. This is dealing with the functions of municipalities. How many functions were allocated? 18 functions were allocated to municipalities, and Schedule 11 you have, that is with respect to panchayats. This is added by 73rd Amendment and it deals with Part 9 of Indian Constitution. This is what we have generally. Okay, so in urban local bodies also we have different local bodies. Municipal corporation for bigger cities where there is more than 1 million population, that means more than 10 lakh, they can have municipal corporation. So below 1 million they will have municipalities. In smaller cities and towns we have notified area committee, means by government notification they will give, wherever the cities or town is expanding and there is a very much need, by notification they will notify. This is the notified area committee. Then town area committee means for underdeveloped towns or the towns which are lacking of basic facilities, they can establish a town area committee. Then you have special purpose agency. This is for some specialized areas like industrial areas. When there is requirement, they can notify this as special purpose agency. Then township means for the employees as a group of community, they can provide the housing facilities and all. So those becomes the township. Port trust means in the port areas, and cantonment board means for the civilians in the cantonment areas. This is under Ministry of Defence, under central government. Okay, so these are the things which are the types of urban local bodies which we see in the maximum times. Then you can see who is a mayor. Mayor, you know, he is the legislative head of the municipal corporation. So who is the executive head means, again the commissioner will be there. Municipal commissioner is the executive head, means he is there to implement the decisions of the council, but mayor is a legislative head, like, you know, the speaker of the house, you can say. And he is the head of the municipal corporation. For how many population this municipal corporation will be there means, it is for 1 million. That means 10 lakh population you have municipal corporation. For them the head will be the mayor. Okay, so you know how a mayor is elected. So it is not clearly there. So you can have direct election or you can have indirect election. So in most of the states there is indirect election only. That means among the elected councillors they can directly make one person as the mayor. But in some states, like 9 states including Telangana, okay, so we have direct election of the mayor, means he is elected one from the persons only. So in this way you have 9 persons or 9 states are giving exemption to this indirect election principle. So again the reservations will apply, 1/3 seats will be reserved for women and all. So these urban local bodies will have their provisions from 243P to 243ZZ. These are the provisions dealing with urban local bodies. Then what is the qualification to become a mayor means? He must be a citizen of India. He must have at 21 years of age. That is a minimum age to contest in the urban local bodies. His or her name should be registered in the electoral roll of that particular area, and he should not be disqualified to contest this election. And also he should not be an employee of the municipal corporation. Office of profit should not be there. Then what is the term means? The term of the person will be normally 5-year period since the beginning of the first meeting. It is not from the date of election. From the date of first meeting of the council, it is calculated for 5 years, and it is subject to dissolution. You know, every house which is elected, it can be subject to dissolution on some grounds like lagging in duties or exceeding the abuse of power and all. On these grounds, a mayor can also be, or the house itself can be dissolved. So these are the roles and responsibilities there on the mayor. Means here you can see these are the roles, but all these roles are again connected to these 18 functions. Now answer in the comment section how many functions are entrusted to the panchayats under 11th schedule of Indian Constitution. Then you can see here, these are all the 18 functions which are entrusted, you can go through. Then we have this practice question yesterday given. So you can see, with reference to International Energy Agency, consider the following statements. First one, it was established based on the framework of Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. This is correct. Then IEA releases World Energy Outlook. This is also correct. Then India is a full-time member of IEA. Now, if you have remembered, IEA is asking this India to become a full-time member. It is now just an associate member. So third statement is wrong. So if you eliminate this, okay, so you have only 1 and 2 is the option. This is the answer for this question. Then time for practice question, you can see here. A college student desires to get elected to the municipal council of his city. Validity of his nomination would depend on the important condition, among others, that he obtains permission from the principal of his college, he is a member of the political party, his name figures in the voters list, he files a declaration owing his allegiance to the Constitution of India. So in order to nominate, or in order to file his nomination, a college student should have which of the following conditions when he is contesting for urban local body in his city? Answer in the comment section. Then mains question for practice. Local self-government system in India not proved to be effective instrument of governance. Critically examine the statement and give your views to improve the situation. So this is a highly important topic for mains also. How to improve the functioning of urban local bodies. This is an answer you have to answer. Then, as we have come to the end of the discussion, in this video we have discussed about why did the Chief Justice of India made a remark that we don't allow the murder of democracy, and what are the provisions that we have seen, what are the provisions under which Supreme Court has issued this particular order that Chandigarh mayor should be from Aam Aadmi Party, like on what basis they have decided. And we also have seen what is the controversy surrounding Chandigarh mayor election, and we also have seen what is Article 142, and also we have seen constitutional provisions related to the office of mayor and urban local bodies. So this is all with respect to this video. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.